Hi everybody, this is Erin the Hiking Stitcher, and this is floss tube number 1. I was inspired to start a floss tube after StitchCon this year, and so I just wanted to take some time, introduce myself, and go over what I did at StitchCon and all the goodies I brought home. So first of all, let me just dive in and let you know about me. I live in Virginia. I have been stitching now for probably 20 years. On again, off again. I learned how to stitch from my cousin who taught me. And over time, I have gone from just the patterns and the kits that you could buy at Michael's and Joann's and Walmart to full heaven and earth designs, Hayes, Sal's, you name it, I've probably tried it. So that's a little bit about me. Generally, this channel is going to be about my cross stitching, but I also hike. That's why I'm the hiking stitcher. So occasionally I will talk about the things that I've done while in the mountains and other cool things like that. And just life, you know, sometimes you just need to talk. So first of all, let's talk StitchCon. I went to Weekend A. I have never been, and I had some serious FOMO in years past seeing other people do it and my online stitchy friends going there. So I put myself on the wait list back in like October and promptly kind of forgot about it. You know, I didn't get called off the initial round of the wait list. And so I went ahead and I signed up for Steel City Stitchers Retreat and the Black Needle Society's in-person retreat. And then in March, I got this email saying, "You've been selected for Weekend A." And I go, okay. So we looked at the budget and said, we're going to try to make this work because this is kind of a big deal. I was telling people who don't stitch that StitchCon in a way is like the cross-stitching version of Comic-Con. You get to go hang out with all sorts of people from around the world who share the same interest that you do, and you get to meet some of the famous people in the realm of cross stitch, from designers to other floss tubers. So it absolutely was going to happen. So I traveled in on Wednesday. I took an early flight and I got into Cincinnati. I got to the hotel probably about noon. And I settled in and I started stitching with some ladies in the breakfast area. And I had I had chatted with Jessie Marie Does Stuff, the Whitgo lady, and said, hey, come on down and stitch. So she came down and stitched, and we stitched with a few other people. I completely forgot your names and your Instagram handles. I'm sorry. But there was a lady from Florida. There were some sisters. There was a lady from Albany, New York. So there's probably at some point about 6 to 8 of us just sitting around and stitching, kind of pre-gaming it almost. So then we all kind of left. I invited Jessie to come to dinner with me because I was finally going to get to meet up with my friend Amanda, who I have been Frogworks teammates with for, 3 years now. And so she was going to come to dinner and had invited along Tara and Chandria to come and hang out. So we were all going to go to dinner. And so I invited Jessie, and so we all ended up at some German restaurant in Kentucky, and it was really, really good. The beers were huge, the portion sizes were huge, and the prices were cheap. I would highly recommend the Hofbrauhaus, I think it's called, in Newport, Kentucky, to anybody going to StitchCon and who has a car to go make a little bit of a drive. And meanwhile, that's how we got on the topic of floss tube. So Amanda had her Black Needle Society box in the back of her car, and they were saying, Erin, you should film an unboxing. So we kind of hemmed and hawed. Well, I should say I hemmed and hawed, and then finally said, fine, let's do it. So here we are. It is 9:30 at night. We are driving around the parking lot looking for the best lighting to park, from where to park. And then Amanda took my phone, and her husband, John, pulled up a light, and Jessie kind of sat beside me, and I filmed my first unboxing. And that will eventually be available as a floss tube extra because I don't think I've laughed so hard in a long time. So I filmed the unboxing of the Black Needle Society's restricted section box. And yeah, that was it. So then Thursday was the first day I got in line. I was there at 7:15 in the morning, and I was like the 6th, 7th person in line. Keep in mind, StitchCon doesn't open the doors officially until 10 o'clock. So I was an early bird because my anxiety demanded that I get there early, because I would rather get there early and wait, knowing that I had the ability to be one of the first ones in to kind of pick a table I was comfortable with, rather than sleeping in and then getting downstairs to find the line out the door. Because eventually that's what it was. The line was way out the door. And so I just waited and I stitched and I talked to a bunch of other people. And then I went in and I got the corner table by the freebie table. And so it was good. I could kind of be on the outside, kind of be in the back, where I could kind of be a part of everything, but I wasn't smack in the middle of everything, so I could get up and move because I need to move. So we did that, and then I had my amazing table mates. So Jessie Marie Does Stuff was one of my table mates, along with Chandria and Tara, and then Amy and Milka. And I will put links to their Instagram, socials, floss tubes in the description, because they are all amazing ladies. Some of you guys probably know Jessie Marie Does Stuff because of WhipGo, but she is just an amazing, amazing person. They all are, and we had a really great time. So Thursday we stitched and we stayed, and pretty much until they closed the room, and then I went to bed. I wasn't doing late night stitching. Friday we went to Keepsakes, and so I've got a lot of haul that I'm about to show you that I went to got at Keepsakes. So we did that. We rode the Stitchy bus, and then again just sat and stitched. And this time I ended up in the late night room. Didn't think I was gonna do that because I'm usually not a night owl, but it definitely had a different vibe. And I sat with Tara and 2 other amazing stitchers who, again, I apologize, I don't remember names. I know your faces. But we kind of sat down there at the hotel bar, and the stitching room was kind of packed. So we were kind of in front of the bar, just sitting and chatting. And it was just a very relaxed vibe. It was great. And so Saturday, got up and did it all again. Just stitching. And then the late night room. And I was in the late night room Saturday night till about 1 o'clock in the morning, hanging out with so many other great stitchers. Again, I kind of remember some of you. I remember who was there for some of it, but I don't remember everybody. So I'm not going to try to name everyone because I'll forget. But we had a great time. We ordered pizza and just laughter. And that was something that I did not expect. Just that pure camaraderie where you all have the same hobby, but then you go into the weekend as strangers and you come out lifelong friends. So Sunday, I slept in a little bit. Jessie already left. Amy didn't come back, but the rest of us kind of started off down there. But everybody kind of trickled out. A lot of people left Saturday night. But since I wasn't flying out until Monday morning today, by the way, I said I'm going to stick it out to the end. I was one of the first ones in. I'll be one of the last ones out. So as people left, we consolidated, and till there was just kind of like a couple tables of us left. And finally, probably about 2:45, we all called it and we all left, and StitchCon closed at 3. So long story short, that was kind of my experience at StitchCon. It was amazing. It was overwhelming, sensory overload. I have not been that tired in a long time. So that's kind of my StitchCon thing. So let me kind of tell you about like kind of what I stitch, because you don't want to hear me ramble. You want to see the good stuff. So first of all, let me show you the things that I stitched on and give you a little bit of rundown of those. And then I'll show you the stuff I bought at the annex. And then I'll show you the stuff I scored from the freebie table, because the perks of sitting next to the freebie table is that you got good stuff. And then I'll go over some of the amazing table gifts that I got. And I had a couple of finishes. So I got to ring the StitchCon bell twice. So first thing I stitched on was my Haid that I brought. So this is Nola by Mandy Manzano. And I started stitching on this probably about a couple years ago, and this is one of about 7 Haids in my rotation. And this one is probably the easiest to take to a retreat because I can bring it all and I'm not switching threads all the time. So I got a lot of this part done right here, this green, just kind of fill in. And I love the colors, and people kept stopping by. And so in the editing process, I'm gonna try to insert a video, a photo of what it's gonna look like finished. But this piece has a lot of meaning to me because my family is from New Orleans, and just anytime I see something New Orleans related that just kind of stands out, I'm gonna stitch it. And so on there, some of my table gifts actually, so Jessie gave, dropped it, happens. So Jessie handed out these WhipGo needle minders to people that were playing WhipGo. And then somebody came by and had Harry Potter needle minder. So of course, the Slytherin in me had to get the Slytherin one. So that was that was probably the biggest project I worked on. I also had a couple of smalls that I worked on. So I worked on Coco at Luke's from the Black Needle Society. This was from the Winter and Stars Hollow box. And so this is what it's gonna look like when it's finished. And here's where I'm up to. This one was an easy fill in as I waited in line because I could just stitch in hand, and I just was stitching a lot of yellow. So I didn't have to worry about bringing out a lot of threads. And so it's just a great little small for times where I just had to sit and just wait. And then, let's see. I also stitched on The River from Modern Folk Embroidery. So let me show you that. This pattern came in a Black Needle Society box, forget which one, but it was one of the first ones I got actually. And so some people started this a couple years ago as a sale and said, okay, we're gonna stitch on it every day and finish in a year. Well, I didn't quite get that far, but I decided that this was gonna be my rainy day project. So anytime it rains, I try to stitch on it. So here is where I'm up to. I am stitching on some count fabric Aida, but this is using floss from Forbidden Fiber Co. And this was this floss that came in the box same box as the pattern. I believe it's called River of Life. And I just love the variegation. I honestly really do. So this project I hated for a while because it seemed like every time I stitched on it, I put in 5 stitches and have to frog 10. But over time, I enjoyed it, and now it's kind of one of my favorite things to work on. So every time it rains, I stitch on that. And I'm using the project bag that came in the Frogwarts Year 3 box to hold it. And then I also stitched on the Gilmoreism stitch along from Forbidden Fiber Co. So it is in this Gilmore Girls project bag from the Summers and Stars Hollow box, again from Black Needle Society. Are you seeing a pattern here? So let me show you what I got. This is all on the kit that Forbidden Fiber Co. Kitted up. So it's on their fabric, using their flosses. And while I have not stayed up with this style is actually finished, this is what I've got. So there's the top of it. That part's done. So this has been done for a while. And then so trying to get down here to see. The bottom pieces are the last little bit. So I was working on the border and I ran out of floss. Not during StitchCon, but a while ago. And so I stopped working on it, and I messaged the lady from Forbidden Fiber Co., Leanne, and she said a lot of people, that had happened more often than you thought. So I tried to order some replacement floss, but the dye lots just didn't quite work out. So thankfully, Forbidden Fiber Co. had a bunch of floss at the trunk sale at StitchCon, and I was able to find a color that's not the exact same color, but a very close enough match so I can get those borders done. And then for the finishing event in July for Fandom, I'm hoping to get that done. So then when I went to late night stitching, I just wanted to get kind of a mindless project, something small. I didn't want to have to pack everything. So I decided to work on Silver Bells from Lindy Stitches. This came in the BNS Nice List box 2022. And this was one of my starts for Mania. And I love the peacock. I love the colors. I love Silver Bells is one of my favorite Christmas carols. So I was like, I just want to work on this. So I did, and this is as far as I got. So during StitchCon, I was able to get the bells put in and get the rest of the Fancy Floss Mermaid in for this little loop. So this is going to be kind of one of those smalls that I think I'll just kind of keep in my purse and just work on it when you have time or you just need a minute. And then I had brought One Start, Plan New Start, and I didn't start it because the girls at my table and some of the other girls, they saw this pattern at the annex, and we all decided that we were going to start it. And it's called Beach Rat. And I don't have all that information for you right now, but we have made it a Beach Rat Sal. So on Instagram, if you search hashtag Beach Rat Sal, that is what we're doing. So it is essentially a picture of a seagull with the words Beach Rat on it, and it is adorable. I'll see if I can insert a picture. But anyhow, this is as far as I got. So this is all of, I got the bee done, I got a lot of the flowers done, and I got the seagull's butt done. And that is all in the Fancy Floss that I bought at Keepsakes, because I didn't have the DMC with me. So I did buy all the Fancy Floss from Keepsakes. And then when I got home, I started kitting it up with the DMC. So that's kind of a work in progress. But I found I love that project. I knocked out like something like 1,200 stitches on it in 2 days, and even on like half sleep. So then I also got a couple finishes. So hang on a second, let me show you. So the first one was a planned finish. It was kind of like, okay, I wanted to ring the bell at StitchCon because I had never been to a retreat before I went to Steel City, and I saw people ringing a bell when they finished. I went, I kind of want to do that, but I didn't have anything close enough to a finish that I took there. So I said, let me take something that's close to a finish. So I did, and I had a chance to ring the bell on Saturday because I finished Winter in Wonderland from Jan Hicks Creates. And this is on the called for fabric and the called for floss. This was in the Nice List box from BNS last year, and I started it almost right away. And actually, I started this the day before I broke my wrist in December. So I stitched probably most of this blue snowflake up here. I stitched that kind of weirdly one-handed because this wrist didn't want to work for a while. And then this was my snow day project. So any day that it snowed, I stitched on it. But we didn't really have a lot of snow in Virginia. You know, global warming, climate change, what have you. So I ended up at StitchCon finishing up this tree and these last snowflakes. And I want to give a big shout out to Jessie for counting for me, because I like stitching on linen. I hate counting on linen. So this last snowflake up here, I just couldn't get it right. And because it's the one in the corner, I wanted to make sure I had the right spot. No problem. Jessie's amazing at counting on linen. So I just handed it to her, and she got the starting point for me, and voila, a finish. And so that was really neat. You ring the bell and people clap for you. And then you can put something on the brag table. And then on Sunday, I realized I had another project with me that was close to a finish that I did not anticipate that I was going to finish. Or I wasn't planning on finishing until I realized I had it with me. So I decided to finish this. So this is March. So the Black Needle Society in the Nice List box in 2024 or 2023, last year, they gave us all the pieces to start a year-long stitch-along. So each month, they are releasing a pattern that is related to the National Blank Month. So each month there's that's National this or that month. So they wanted to do kind of a calendar that didn't always reflect what everybody thinks of, like February, Valentine's Day, December, Christmas. So March, just so you know, is National Umbrella Month. So I was able to get this done. I just had some of the white to fill in, and I kind of knocked that out, and I was able to ring the bell probably about 2 hours, 3 hours before the end of StitchCon. So yeah, a lot of stitching got done. I was surprised because people had told me that you're not going to get a lot of stitching done because you're spending so much time talking, which I did. But I also spent a lot of time stitching and talking. And just when you get into a rhythm, it works. So then on Friday, I went shopping at the Annex and at Keepsakes. And I'll tell you, Keepsakes is very, very overwhelming. It's an old, it looked like an old like Sears catalog house that you used to be able to literally order a house to be built and buy it through a catalog, and they'd ship you the materials and you put it together. But they had renovated it where every room was filled with cross stitch. And it was huge. It was amazing, but it was also quite packed with a lot of people. And I went in looking for a couple of specific patterns by Dirty Annie. And I just got to the point I realized I wasn't going to find them. I just went, looked around, I got some fabric, and then I went back to the Annex and did some more shopping. So let me show you the haul I got there. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So in the Annex, yeah, my credit card got a little hot. Sorry, honey. So probably my favorite thing that I bought was this. And my husband is laughing at me because he's like, you just got all excited for a stick. Well, I had been looking for a thread winder that was much longer. I have a thread winder that's this long and works great for the fancy floss. But I have been putting my DMC on floss drops, and so I wanted something that I could wrap the DMC around and have longer strands. So this was worth its weight, and you know, so that was probably my favorite purchase. My second favorite purchase, and this is when I saw this during the preview, I said I'm going to be in line exactly when the Annex opens just to get this. So I was not planning on buying a project bag until I saw this one. And so this one from my friend Lynn X Stitches or Lynn X Creates, I'd have to double check that. She had this project bag and it's huge and it is New Orleans themed. So the bright patterns, I said, I know I've got a lot of New Orleans patterns that could go in this. So I was literally in line at 8:30 when they opened Friday morning just to buy this. And so this also made me super happy. And while I was there, I also picked up the kit. So StitchCon every year has their own unique pattern. So this is this year's StitchCon pattern called Come to the Garden. And it was designed by Sue Hillis. And they said at StitchCon that she has recently been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so that made me want to stitch this even more and want her to be able to see her beautiful creations while she still has the ability to do so. So they were selling that. They also sold the thread pack. So all the DMC and the fabric. So I grabbed 32 count linen for this one. So that is one project that is already kitted up, and I don't know when I'm going to start it, but I promise you I will at some point. And then my other I had to get purchased, I needed to get some fabric. So I bought Primrose Cottage 4th of July rules as part of the Nashville Market order that I put in. And I knew I definitely want to start this on the 4th of July. So I ended up getting some fabric, and I got boring fabric. I don't do a whole lot of bright colors all the time. So I got a nice piece of Atomic Ranch Mellow Stone 18 count. And so I'm starting to pull threads for that. And so that was kind of I checked that off. That was on my shopping list. Like I actually was planning on buying this. Everything else was a impulse buy. Let's be honest. You give stitchers in a room with all sorts of designers and all sorts of newbies, we go crazy. I was not the craziest person there. One lady, I heard them tell her that her order was $500. But, so, I can't wait to start this on the 4th of July. I hope you guys start it with me, because that would be a fun stitch along. And then, as I was going through the Annex again, I found this project bag to go with it. This is from Dot Dot Goose Design, and the gnomes, oh my gosh. I just saw this and I kind of squealed and I said, I have to. I wasn't going to get another project bag. Yeah, I caved. So this will be used for my 4th of July rules. And then the other projects that I saw that just kind of I had to get. Okay, not had. I wasn't planning on it, but I couldn't resist. The first one was the American flag from Erin Elizabeth Designs. And I've been wanting to buy one of her patterns for a while because my name is also Erin Elizabeth. And so I love it when there's somebody with the same name who designs amazing patterns. So I like this pattern. And then they were also selling the silks, the Dinky Dye silk package to go with it. So I've got that. And I found 40 count Atomic Ranch white linen to put that on. And so I have been intrigued by 40 count. So that'll be the first time I ever do a project on 40 count. Yay. And then, of course, I have to support Rebel Stitcher Designs all the time. So I ended up getting Civil samplers. And I got it literally because I saw the John Lewis quote down here. And, yeah, I mean, the whole idea of getting into good trouble, you know, sometimes you got to rattle some cages to do the right thing. I love Colleen's designs. I love her needle minders, Rebel Stitcher. She's probably one of my favorite designers that I have not stitched yet. So this is one that I'm hoping to start sometime. And then just when I thought I was all done shopping, I had everything I wanted, I wasn't going to buy anymore, I saw this. I saw a Happy Camper from the Blue Flower. And I absolutely just squealed because I'm a hiker. Anything to do with the outside and camping and hiking. Yeah, I don't know what happened. My camera decided to stop. So anyhow, so I was looking at this one and the animals up top, just that alone got me. And because I am a big fan of the mountains, this is going to go in my pile that will be stitched at some point. So that was my planned haul. And then I'm looking at my freebie pile and oh my gosh, I just got some amazing things. So I'm just going to kind of run through those because I've never been to a retreat where there's been a freebie pile and the stitchers went crazy. So I got a whole bag of CXC threads. I thought these were DMC. I was wrong. I've never stitched in CXC threads. I'm excited to kind of sort through these and figure out what to use them on because I've heard people say that they like CXC better than they like DMC. So we will see. We will try that. I did find just some random DMC because I'm always kitting up ahead, so threads are always good. And then I found just more fabric because you can never have enough fabric. So all of this fabric, honestly, this was all on the freebie table at one point or another. And yes, I left some for others, but I have lots and lots of fabric now. And then they had some amazing patterns. So these are patterns, I don't know when I'm gonna get a chance to stitch them, but they just called to me. So I have Celebrate Life. I got Hands On Designs Polar Bear Peak. That just was so adorable. I just couldn't resist. And then I got a Blackwork cross kit. It looks like it's already been started, but I probably will just take the pattern and re-kit it up with the colors that I want to use it for. But I love Blackwork, so this was something I said I'll do eventually, or at least I hope I will. And then there was Cherry Hills Love You to the Moon and Back. That is a saying that I say all the time. And then there was a Little Lizzie Kate one. And then there was a Trillium, which again, I'm a hiker. Trillium is one of the flowers I love seeing. It tells me that it's springtime. So getting to be able to stitch a Trillium after hiking and seeing them, of course I could. And then I had, first I do the coffee, then I do the things. And then my table mate Chandria had some of these she had extras of. I think maybe that's, one of these is from Chandria. I don't remember if this one is now that I think about it, but I thought this was cute. And then I'm a sucker for Ursula Michael. I just love this style, and so I got her chocolate pattern. I got Leap Into Fall. And then I got Let's Cross Stitch. And I even saw the model of this on the wall at Keepsakes, and it is amazing. And then I saw Sunflower Manor and a Happy New Year. Snow Fun. Tiny Modernist, Words to Live By. Some of these are some smalls that eventually maybe I'll do for a smalls exchange if I ever do one. I'm so used to stitching on the large Hades that something like this is out of my wheelhouse, but they travel better than the Hades do. And then there is Deck the Halls. I am a penguin person. You give me penguins, I cannot resist. And then I love stuff from My Big Toe Designs, so I was excited to see this one in the freebie pile. And this is probably going to be stitched for my sister eventually. And then I saw this one. I laughed hysterically. And so this will probably eventually be stitched for my best friend. And then another Ursula Michaels, Coffee. I'm probably gonna stitch this. I'm gonna find a coffee flavored fancy floss, and that's what I'm gonna use for this. And then I just laughed, snarky cross stitch. Those of you that know me know that I'm snarky. So there's a lot of really, really funny patterns in here. So these again make great smalls exchanges. And then some Stony Creek, because I love me some Stony Creek. And I do like the white on the black. I hate stitching on black, but when it's just white, I just love the way it looks. And so I will suffer through stitching on black to get one of these done. And then I saw this pattern. I'm going to re-kit it up with different fabric and different floss. I don't know what colors yet, but nevertheless, she persisted. I mean, ever since somebody said that about Elizabeth Warren, that has become kind of a battle cry and a rallying cry for me. So keep going. And then I saw Snowman. I already have another one of the same series in my stash, so it made sense that he needed to have a buddy. And then the last one I got was the capital of the United States of America, because I live near DC, so this would be something that's nice. And actually, I don't know if you can see it on the wall behind me there is a picture of the cow. I know you can't see it in the video, but I promise you that's a picture of the Capitol. And on top of that, I got so many amazing table gifts. I'm not gonna spend the time to share them all, but like Jessie Marie made little bags. One of my table mates had a machine and made us all floss holders. Chandria made these little fabric ort holders. I got tea, I got snacks, I got needle minders coming out everywhere. And then people just drop by, and that was something I was not prepared for or expecting. I made table gifts for my table mates, but I was not expecting and was pleasantly surprised at the amount of stitchers that came around and literally just dropped things in front of you or just handed you a card with their info on it. So now I have new people to follow on Instagram and FlossTube. And they would hand out things like scissor fobs and needle minders and candy, and lots of floss strap, a lot of floss cards. People would put their puppy, people would put their kitty on the floss card. So there's so many, like I would probably be here another hour just showing you all the table gifts. So I'm not gonna do that, but I am going to show you the haul that Steel City gave us. So we got, they handed us a check-in this bag. I mean, it is huge. This fit in one of my suitcases, and it was almost like they were telling us, you need to fill it up. Fill me up. And then they also gave us this really adorable Ort jar with Ohio on it. So, anyhow, so that's what I've been up to. I mean, I don't know what I will do for the next one, other than show you more stitching. So in the comments below, though, drop some questions. I'll answer most questions within reason. So if you have a question about my stitching, if you have a question wanting to get to know me a little bit more, nothing weird and inappropriate. Don't be a weirdo. So drop those in the comments, and then in my next FlossTube, I will endeavor to answer some of those. In the meantime, I hope that you guys have a wonderful week, and don't forget to stitch your own stitch. Have a great day.